Welcome to this UniLogic tutorial. UniLogic is the complete application development environment for our Unitronics UniStream control platform.
Hello, my name is Kara Barrick-Levy. I'm a technical documentation specialist here at Unitronics. This tutorial is about Hmi Design. Unitronics' built-in graphic tools and library enable you to easily design polished professional screens. In this tutorial, we will introduce the Hmi Editing Environment, learn about Hmi Elements and properties, and see some of the elements in action. Before we begin, I would like to show you what's possible. Here are 3 screens from one of our sample programs. With the UniLogic screen editing tools, you too can obtain professional results with a true minimum of effort. Okay, let's get started. Let's take a look at the Hmi Editing Environment. To add screens, you right-click Module under Hmi. Generally, when you're editing, you're going to want the Hmi ribbon open. Most of the tools here will look familiar to you from other graphic applications. You can manipulate the grid view, and you can use these to arrange the elements on the screen. We'll be looking more at these later. Okay, I'd like to show you a nice little feature. It's the Hmi Comments, which can be very handy for communicating things to other programmers. Okay, now the setup will be quite familiar to you by now. We've got the toolbox with all of the elements, and we've got the properties window. Note here that we've got an isActive bit that you can assign. You can lock the screen, assign a name of course, and here's where you can set the background for that particular display. Okay, you could use an image if you wish. Here I'm just going to assign a color. Okay, now I'd like to put some simple elements on the screen. And start by drawing a line. And next a rectangle. I think that this time I am going to use an image as the background. I click on the image icon and navigate to my desired image. Let's pick bugs. It doesn't look very good. Let me slim them down a bit. Okay, now notice that we have all sorts of really nifty features here on the side. I can put them at an angle by typing in a value, or I can spin them around. Look how the bar under angle expands and contracts as I do that. Let me adjust his opacity. And I think I'm going to give him a thicker border while I'm at it. Okay. Before we continue, I'd like to show you some of the options that are available on the right-click menu on the screen. One of those is Export. There are some others. I'm not going to export the screen right now. What I am going to do is import an already prepared screen. It has some elements that I want to show you, specifically buttons and user controls. Okay, here we go. We're all set. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to run VNC now. I'd like you to see what this looks like in real time. Just a moment. I've got a number of elements on the screen. Let's start off by looking at the simple buttons. I've got a toggle here, and it is linked to an image variable, a binary image variable, animated GIFs for each state. I've got radio buttons. When the user touches the buttons, the list variable changes appropriately. Checkboxes. As the user touches each box, the check appears and the associated image appears. I really like this. This is the combo box. Okay, when the user touches this, he gets a spin box. And finally, we've got the list box. Again, touching each option changes the value of the link tag. Okay, now I'd like to put some buttons up on the screen. I'm going to type button into the toolbox and use the arrows to go down the list and press Enter to place them on the screen. Just a very quick and easy method. And now I'm going to drag and drop the button. You see the red lines that aid you in locating and sizing elements on the screen. Very, very handy. Okay, now I'm going to use some of the options on the ribbon. Let's bring that forward. And now let's select two of them and resize. Going to make these the same size. Alright. Can move them around as a group if I wish. Now let's take a look at the properties. Alright, now I would like to take a closer look at some of the properties. See, we've got actions. Actions are linked to collections. We're going to add a new action. Now there's a variety of actions that you can choose. Set, toggle, increment, decrement, and load screen. This is how we move from screen to screen in an HMI application. Okay, we've selected load screen. Now let's select which screen. User controls, okay. And now the trigger is going to happen when at pressed or at released. Let's add one more action. You can drive multiple actions, of course. Okay, there we go. Next, let's see about actually editing the buttons themselves. You can assign a disabled color, and you can also assign images for released and pressed states. Press state and released state. Okay, that's a lot better. I can enable or disable the touch property, of course, and I can edit the font for the button label. Okay, let's make that really big. Bold it and change the color. And of course I can edit the text label itself. Very good. Just take a quick look at some of the other options, although we went through them in earlier sections. We can set the visibility of the object. That's important. And of course we can align the text. Okay, let's clear the slate and look at some other elements. Delete everything. Okay. After buttons are user controls, we already discussed those. Okay, now we've got text elements. There's fixed text, binary text. I'd like to take a closer look at the list of text variable. This has actions and collections, which we've already discussed. But here we also have a text list. That's also linked to a collection. Okay, you click to add new texts. You can delete them as you choose. And you can also move them and change the order by dragging them. See? Okay, I've changed the order of the text strings now. Okay, we need to enable our users to enter data via the HMI screen. And this is how that's done. We've just placed a text box. I'm going to enlarge it. Now let's look at the properties. It can be multi-line, which places scroll bars. We're going to want to remove the read-only since this is a data entry variable. Okay, and now we're going to put in a legal entry bit. And now the tag link, of course, this is text entry, so we need a string ASCII data tag. Okay, it's enabled by default, but we can disable it if we want. We can control that. And we can edit the text for the watermark, which serves as a user direction. Okay, we're going to ask him to enter an email here. I'd like to center that. And now I want to take a look at this via VNC. See what happens when the user touches that text box. Okay, now we can enter text. Shift will enable him to enter the @ sign. Okay, and that's all there is to it. And now that email has replaced the watermark. You can, of course, enable a user to enter a numeric value. Here's numeric elements, there's numeric box and IP edit address. Let's place a numeric box. All right, now look at the properties here. Okay, there's the numeral format. Okay, we could choose the base format, decimal point location. Okay, here we're selecting hexadecimal. Okay, we're assigning an integer for the numeric value. And of course, we must remember to uncheck the read-only if we want someone to be able to enter data. Okay, we can control that at will. Legal entry, maximum value, minimum value, and the other properties. Unitronics offers a very rich image library. Let me place a variable on the screen so I can show it to you. Okay, I've got a binary image variable. Let's assign an image for one of the states. Okay, here are the lights and lamps. Now if we go up to Unipix, you can see we've got animated GIFs, arrows, buttons, pumps, motors, pipes, quite a wide variety. Let me just go over for a minute and show you. Let me scroll through some of the elements in that library. A number of fittings, ladders, solar panels, switches, tanks, status lights. Okay, let's go back and select one of the images. Okay, let's wind this up by looking at some of the other elements in the toolbox. Okay, we've got tanks, graphs and meters. Here we've got trends. Okay, but there's an entire demonstration devoted to trends. Won't go into that now. We've got time widgets. Okay, analog time, digital, date edit. Okay, very easy, very nice looking. And we have a data tables widget, and there is a demonstration devoted to that as well. This concludes this tutorial about Hmi Design. You can find more information and example applications in our website. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you again.